All right, so for the do now, what was the error? Did anyone find it? Did anyone find the error? Your class will be the first one where no one found it. That means they probably. Huh? No, not at all. The error. They were supposed to graph x equals 4, and they graphed y equals 4. You said it should be 4, comma 0. That's not what you said. That has nothing to do with.
Yeah, I meant like this over here.
No, that's not it at all. That's still, that's not at all. They graphed it wrong, Libby. The solution is wrong because they graphed it wrong. This is x equals 4. The solution is 4, negative 2. Not at all, Libby. Not at all. All right. So the error, they graphed wrong. They graphed y equals 4 instead of x equals 4. So the solution is actually 4, negative 2. All right. So you guys should have picked up your notes when you came in. Shh, guys. So you should have picked up your notes. Today we're doing linear systems to solve problems. By problems, we mean word problems. Okay. So steps to solve. Step 1 is we're going to identify the unknowns. So we label them using x and y variables typically, or you can choose your own variables to use. Okay. Step 2, we create the 2 equations. So we're going to create the 2 equations from what we read. Step 3, we decide if you're going to solve the system algebraically, graphically, or using a table. Step 4, we solve the system and write the answers to how it pertains to the original problem. Okay. So first problem we have here. So the first problem we have here is I have 8 pens and 7 pencils, and it costs $3.37, while 5 pens and 11 pencils cost $3.10. What is the cost of each pen and each pencil? So from this problem, I'm going to identify my variables. My variables come from what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for pen and pencils. So I can let x equal pens and y equals pencils. Okay. The next thing I'm going to figure is take the word problem and turn it into a math problem, an equation. So reading the first one, I have 8 pens and 7 pencils cost $3.37. So writing that as a problem, that means I have 8x plus 7y equals $3.37. How do we feel? Okay, doing the same thing with the other one. I have 5 pens, 11 pencils, and 11 pencils, and they cost $3.10. So when I write this one, I have 5x plus 11y equals $3.10. So we took the words and turned it into equations. How do you feel so far? Okay. All right, so next step is to decide, how do we want to solve? Do we want to solve it using elimination, substitution, graph, or a table? I'll let you guys choose. Which way do y'all want to go? You want to do substitution? Okay, that's the harder one. Let's do graph. We'll do a substitution next. So graphically, if I'm graphing this, typically I need to solve for y, right? I need to get y by itself. What is the plan to get y by itself in the red equation? Well, what I need to do to get y by itself? Subtract 8x, good job. And then what? Then divide by 7. That's my y1. What do I need to do to get the second y by itself? Not just the 5, but the 5x. And then divide by 11. Yes, it got a little weird. Okay, so we're going to input this into our calculator. And for the sake of this, our calculator is Desmos. There should be a push out of the TI Inspires, possibly should be on your desktop of your laptops. I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, it is. So Libby says that it is there. All right, so I'm going to input this. So I have y1 equals. When you're putting in a fraction, you got to put the numerator in parentheses. So parentheses, and we have, what was it? 3, what are the values, y'all? 337 minus 8x, and then divided by 5. Parentheses. The division, it's the / down by your shift button. Possibly. All right, what is it divided by 5? Is this one 5, 7? 7? Is that right? All right, then y2 equals parentheses 310 minus 5x. I forgot my 5. 5x divided by 11. Thank you. And where they intersect is my solution. So do we see the point of intersection? So we, all right, so we have, so how does that pertain to our problem? So we ended up with intersection of, that's gonna be a weird 2, making it work. Okay, when you're writing writing the solution, step 4 says you're gonna pertain it to the problem. What does the 2900s and the 1500s represent? The cost of pens and pencils, right? So pens cost 29 cents, right? And pencils cost 15 cents. And that would be your answer. That would give you full credit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. By the coefficient of the y. And we graphed and found the intersection. Yes. All right, cool. They said it'll take it a while to load the first time you open it. All right, our next one. So the next one we have, a shipping company charges a fixed amount for their services and a certain amount per mile they must travel. If a 50-mile trip costs $112 and an 80-mile trip costs $157, find the fixed cost and the cost per mile. So our variables, fixed cost and cost per mile, okay? So we are gonna let that be our x equals our fixed, and our y equals our cost per mile. Is it okay if I write CPM? So it says one trip. So no matter what, because it's a fixed cost, they're going to pay that, right? Plus how many miles they travel, and then the cost per mile. So our first equation is x plus 50y equals 112. The next person also had to pay the fixed costs, but they traveled how many miles? 80, and their bill was 157. This problem, because of how it is, it leads itself to a substitution. And that's because I can easily get one variable by itself. Do we see that? So we can have x equals 157 minus 80y. And then I'm going to substitute that in for x. So when I substitute that in, we end up with 157 minus 80y plus 50y equals 112. And what do? Combine like terms. What's negative 80 and positive 50y? Negative 30y. And then what do I need to do next? Subtract 157. And when I subtract 157, what do I get? Negative 45. And then I need to divide by negative 30. What is negative 45 divided by negative 30? Well, that comes down to be 3/2, which is 1 1/2. So we know that y, their cost per mile is $1.50. So it's $1.50 equals our y. And that's the price, the CPM, right? The cost per mile. Now that I know this is $1.50, what do I take? What do I set $1.50? I'm going to substitute it in. I'm going to substitute it into this guy. And we get 157 minus 80. That's a weird 8. Times $1.50. Calculator people out there? What does our x equal? X equals 37. So the 37 represents the fixed rate, right? So the fixed cost is $37, and the cost per mile is $1.50. Those are the answers. Was it terrible? And you can plug and check them if you like, yes. All right. Number 3, we have the drama club. So the drama club at Lincoln High School sells hot chocolate and coffee at the school's football games to make money for a special trip. At one game, they sold $200 worth of drinks and used 295 cups. If hot chocolate sells for 75 cents and coffee sells for 50 cents, how many coffees did they sell? Okay, so our two variables are going to represent what? Hot chocolate and coffee. So we can let x equal coffee. I like how I saved that. And y equals hot chocolate. I'm going to write, is cocoa with the A? Yeah, hot cocoa. Right? All right. But this problem doesn't really care about how much hot cocoa we sell. No, it wants to know how many coffee cups, right? So this is representing the coffee cups, and this is representing the hot cocoa cups. So all together, how many cups did we sell? So we know x plus y has to equal 295. And we know the cost of each one. So a cup of coffee costs how much? Cup of coffee? 50 cents. And a cup of hot chocolate costs. And together from the money we made, $200. Okay? If I am needing to solve for coffee, then I'm needing to get y by itself so that So I need to get y by itself. So what do I need to do to get y by itself? Subtract x. So we have y equals 295 minus x. And this is what I'm substituting in to this one. So we have 50 cents x plus 75 cents times 295 minus x equals 200. We don't need y. What does it want us to solve for? Coffee. All right, calculator people. What do we get? .75 times 295. Nobody? Y'all gonna make me take out a calculator? Why? You have a calculator open in front of you.
I know. I'm trying to like.
All right, 221.25. All right. Combining like terms. You have 50 cents, you spend 75. That means you're in the debt 25 cents, right? I'm going to subtract 221. Yep. Leaving with negative 21.25. Divide by negative. Sophie, do you want to try to do that in your head? And we get 85. So how many cups of coffee were sold? 85 cups of coffee. All right. Mm-hmm.
It looks like purple, white,
All right. Anyways, so as far as the problems go, there are 2 more problems for you to independently practice and try on your own, just to see if you can, how do you feel about it. Tomorrow will be a full word practice problem day. But now it is time for us to transition into our quiz.